You are listening to One Happy Podcast, episode 17.
Such a wonderful time, and it brought me into such a wonderful zone for 2015. I can't imagine doing anything different than what we did.
Bon dia, and welcome to One Happy Podcast, the officially unofficial podcast of the island of Aruba. I'm your host, Curtis Robinson, aka Aruba Kurt, and once again, before we get started, I want to let you guys know just how amazing you are. I really am grateful to each and every one of you. Now, today on One Happy Podcast, I have a very special show planned for you all, as I'm being joined by James Haroutunian. James first visited Aruba about 14 years ago with his wife Amy for their honeymoon, and now they're going back for the first time since then. However, this time they have two incredible children, Isabel and Jack, to share the experience with. Now, this one is a bit different than your typical episode of One Happy Podcast, as it takes place in two parts. The first half of the interview was conducted prior to the trip and focuses on expectations, while the second part fills us in on how things went. Now, I can't take credit for the idea, as it was actually James's, who reached out to me via the form on the onehappypodcast.com website. But as soon as I read the proposal, I was like, you know what? This is it. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So you guys are planning on going back to Aruba on the 19th?
Dude, I can't even wait. We are so counting it down.
Oh, I'm sure. Your first time you were in Aruba was in 2001, correct?
Yes, Kurt. It was for our honeymoon. And it was probably a month after 9/11, which was pretty hectic traveling to get out of Boston, Logan Airport.
Right.
The security, the news flashes as we're walking down the concourse. We could see what was going on at the time in other airports. And it was just crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure.
And when we got there, we stayed at the Divi Resort. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, maybe they were going through some renovations at the time. But it was one of those situations where you're just so tired by the time you get there, and you get the brochure in front of your face and it looks like a beautiful place, and you drop the brochure and there it is under construction. And we had a couple of run-ins with some, rude people, I guess. It was just one thing after another that first day. And we were so exhausted, but it was our honeymoon and we were so excited.
Right.
And we figured we were going to try to just tough it out and get through. And finally, one thing after another, and we threw a little bug in the room, and something finally set us off, and we both turned to each other and we said, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" So we called my parents, and they had a number of the manager of the Westin from the time that they stayed down there. And within 5 minutes, they called the Westin, and for some reason, being a month after 9/11, he said the whole island is dead. They could come and they could stay at any place they want, but we'll honor whatever package they have. Just send them down.
Oh, very nice.
Right. And they, when we got there, it was like that scene in the Titanic when they were opening the doors and they just brought us in, and it was so
the
sweet.
light started shining. He's like,
oh my God. Yeah. They had drinks waiting for us, and it was exactly what we needed. And we're a little pampered. We had to get the 16th floor or something to, we realized we're somewhat more high rise people than the low rise, at least at the time. I'm sure it's all changed now, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. So you stayed at the Westin, man. That's not even there anymore.
I heard it's the Ryu now.
Yeah. Ryu has a huge complex now.
I can't imagine that they took that over. And did they take over another hotel?
I've heard rumors that they were attempting to, but I don't think that definitely hasn't gone through yet, and I don't know if it ever will.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it.
So you say you're definitely high-rise people, or at least you were at the time. What do you remember about Palm Beach?
Oh, boy. Of course, it was our honeymoon, so I remember the view from the room, of course. And then what we did, just the two of us, we did a lot of day trips. It was about a 10-day trip. And I don't realize how lucky we really were at the time. 26 or something, down in Aruba, newly married. I remember the sunsets.
Yes. Incredible.
Yeah. And I remember just the day trips. Every day we sort of had something, from scuba diving to renting the Jeep and going on what was the natural bridge.
Mm-hmm.
We did everything basically except for that donkey reserve. I got excited hearing your podcast about the donkey reserve.
Yeah, it seems like a really cool place.
I know.
Yeah, so you guys saw a lot of the island, though.
We saw a lot, and we had dinner
That's
out almost
nice.
every night.
Mm-hmm.
We ate at Papiamento.
That's still there.
Oh, it is good. And we ate at the Flying Fishbone.
Mm-hmm. Also still
It
there.
is. Oh, good. That's, I think, where my wife wants to go back. It was that night on our honeymoon that we actually started talking about maybe being okay to start talking about having a baby.
Right.
And yeah, boy, we put the cart before the horse there. We started talking early. So, Kurt, I have to apologize. My son walked in, and I told you he was excited about this.
Oh, that's fine. He can say hi.
And he's saying, "That's me. I'm the baby that you're just talking about."
Nice.
Nice.
That's great.
All right. So
it's been 14 years since you've been there. What made you decide to come back?
it was always our ideal trip.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because it was our honeymoon, but mostly because
Right.
it was Aruba.
Mm-hmm.
And once we had the children, it went from the Disney trips early on to, just local traveling. My family got my parents and my brother got places up in Maine. And I don't know, it doesn't work for us. We didn't get a place in Maine. We realized what we loved, and it was Aruba.
Yes.
So by the time they got old enough, 2 years ago, we don't have luck on our trips. We went down to the Bahamas and stayed at the Atlantis on the day of the Boston Marathon bombing.
Oh.
We're watching it happen live on the plane flying
Right.
down. We're probably one of the last flights to get out. So we seem to travel around world events, and we're traveling again next week. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, hopefully nothing happens.
I know. But yeah, we just idealized it so much in our mind. And the Bahamas trip was a sort of an attempt to at least go kind of far.
Right.
But I really didn't like, while I love the Atlantis and it was a wonderful resort, I didn't get the feeling I was on a tropical island.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, from the water slides to waiting in line for food. It was just, we barely got into the ocean, and I barely had anything that was remotely tropical to eat on the trip.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like to eat where I stay. I can't wait for the cuisine down here in Aruba.
So many great restaurants. I mean, Aruba is such a small island, but there are just so many different places. That's one thing that I'm loving about this podcast is hearing everybody's opinions on various places.
Right. I heard one of them recently was talking about that they get the Chinese food when they go, and then the day that they leave, they go to the Chinese food place.
Yeah, that was Andrea.
Yep. And I love the recommendation for the cab driver, Bully.
Mm-hmm.
I actually found myself looking up his website to see if we could coordinate him to pick us up.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned so much.
How are you guys going to handle transportation? Are you going to rent a vehicle, or are you going to do the taxis? How are you going to do it?
Yeah, I don't picture renting a vehicle. Looking back, we were watching the honeymoon videos, and we were speaking a lot. And I realized we only rented a Jeep then for about 2 days to just go traveling. And that was when it was just the two of us. Now it's going to be pool and beach, and we might take the trip to the desert side once with the kids. I think we'd enjoy that.
Yeah, and once really is enough.
Right. So really I assume there's plenty of taxis at the airport that I don't have to necessarily make arrangements in advance.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to. Were you able to contact Bully? I
didn't. I looked him up, but I didn't reach out to call. I was just nervous about trying to coordinate the timing.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, with 2 kids in tow.
But yeah, you won't have a problem finding the taxi from the airport.
I figured. And we're staying at the Radisson this time.
Yes, right next door to the Ryu.
Oh, it is. Okay, so it's down that side. I keep getting it confused with the Hyatt a little further up. We had fun just jumping off that little dock outside of the Westin Resort. I'm sure that's still out there.
Yeah, it's still out there.
Yeah, just doing something like that for an hour. Boy, we had fun meeting people and I really am. We're looking so forward to this trip.
Oh, it'll probably bring back so many memories when you walk down in that direction.
Oh, yeah, right.
Man.
We're looking forward to just literally having nothing planned all day. And I assume that it's a school vacation week up here. We live north of Boston, and Massachusetts has their, week, and Aruba is like Massachusetts South. So
yes, it is. Why is that?
That's a good question. We're so weather starved. I don't know if you heard, but we had a pretty big winter this year.
Yeah, I'm on the East Coast as well.
Yeah, we're
in Delaware.
Delaware, okay.
Mm-hmm. So we actually missed a lot of the storms that hit you guys. The forecasters would always say we were going to get hit with them, but they would curve at the last minute.
Right up into Boston.
Yep. Felt bad after a while. I'm like, we'll take one of them.
I know, right? Thank you. That would have been nice. I was just saying, it's April. I don't know, April 13th, April 14th now.
14th.
And this weekend, we just took our Christmas lights down. We got stuck. The first storm in January that came, and it never stopped. And we set a record up here for the snowiest winter.
Yeah, and every storm was like a foot.
At least. I'll take a foot.
Yeah, a foot or more.
We had 3, we had 2. It was just real interesting, and a lot of missed days of school, but they weren't fun missed days. You can't really sled in that much snow.
So, your kids are now like the perfect age to travel to Aruba with.
I hope so.
What are they looking most forward to?
Mostly looking forward to the beach. I told you my family has a place up in Maine, but if you ever put your foot in the water up in Maine, you'll know that it's not much of a beach experience because the water is 10 degrees.
Yeah.
So to spend all day in the water, in the Papazon chairs, from which I got the recommendation from your podcast.
Those things are great.
Yeah, we just bought them.
Nice.
They're just really looking to the long, lazy day. And actually, if you don't mind, Jack's right here, my son, and he's 10, and he would love to tell you what he's looking forward to.
I'd love to hear it.
All right, hang on.
Hi, Kurt.
Hey, Jack.
Are you in Aruba right now?
No, I wish I was in Aruba right now.
Me too.
I'm in Delaware.
Oh.
You guys will be in Aruba a lot sooner than I will.
Yeah.
So, what are you most looking forward to in Aruba?
Probably the beach.
Oh, they're very nice.
Or Snuba.
Snuba, that should be really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. There's lots of colorful fish down there.
Yeah.
Oh, and the water's so clear. It's like you're looking out of a window.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you're going to have so much fun. And the water's warm. It's about 80 degrees.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, so you can just walk right into it.
Yeah.
And don't have to worry about shivering or anything.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. And when you come back, are you going to be on the podcast again?
Probably.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
Okay. Here's my dad again.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kurt. I appreciate that.
No problem. It's great. I love stuff like that.
He's a good kid.
Yeah, he's going to have a ball.
Oh, we're trying to convince him about the sun and the need for the sunscreen.
Mm-hmm.
And I just realized we bought about 12 bottles of that spray sunscreen. But with the wind down there, it'll probably blow off before it gets on our skin. So we might need to.
You'll probably waste about 50% of it.
I know. Yeah, we'll have to stand downwind.
I've started wearing one of those UV shirts.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, I mean that helps. I still use sunscreen, but the UV shirt helps in case I'm a little bit lax in applying it.
Oh, I'll tell you, it's like the kids don't know what to expect, which is wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
And, we've been checking the weather, but you really don't have to. It never changes.
Yeah, some of the websites aren't really accurate either. Oh, really? I mean, just count on 86 degrees every day.
86, that's so perfect.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah, it does get hot. The trade winds help you out a lot, but I mean, you already know that. You've been there.
Well, we've done through it, and now we hope that they, listen and do all the same precautions. I was also turned on to Scott's Brats.
Yes,
thanks to your podcast, and I started following them on Facebook. And they posted something today that they may be doing some construction.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see it today.
A big piece of equipment, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they're doing there. I'm going to feel like I know all these people thanks to your podcast.
That's good.
Word gets around pretty quick in my household, and while my son ran out of the room, my daughter came in. Can she tell you what she's expecting?
Sure can.
All right, here comes. This is Isabel. She's 12.
Hey, Isabel.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So I hear that you're going to be making a trip to Aruba really soon.
Yeah.
You excited?
Yeah.
I'm sure. So what are you most looking forward to doing down in Aruba?
Like being in warm water
Mm-hmm.
and snorkeling.
Yes. Yeah, you'll have a blast.
A few years ago, we were snorkeling in Atlantis,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw a barracuda, and I don't want to see one again.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Did it have big teeth?
I kind of swam way too fast.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you don't see any in Aruba. I've never seen one down there. I've seen a lot of colorful fish, so they look pretty harmless. So you should be okay.
Good.
So what else are you looking forward to?
The warm weather and no snow.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure. I'm surprised you guys still don't have snow up there.
Mm.
It was a rough winter, huh?
Yeah.
Well, now you don't have to worry about that because when you get to Aruba, it's going to be 86 degrees and nice and sunny.
Good.
Yeah, you'll have a blast.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Man, how many more days do you have? Just less than a week, right?
Yeah.
Are you already packed?
No.
You better get on it.
Yeah, probably.
You gonna help your brother pack too?
Probably not.
Oh, he's on his own, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
It was nice talking to you. Make sure you come back and talk to me again, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kurt.
Uh-huh.
It's a family affair here.
That's good.
My wife weren't getting ready downstairs to get the house ready to go. She'd probably talk to you too. We another quick thought process. So my wife, she's the exercise fiend in the family, and we were looking at what kind of options there were to exercise while we're down there. Of course, the resorts have the little weight room, but that's never much.
Right.
So we went online and we found there's a CrossFit in Aruba. And if you know CrossFit and you know the people that follow CrossFit, I think that's it's going to be interesting to go down there and meet those folks and take part in a class. And maybe that's going to be our way to meet some people.
Oh, make sure you tell me all about it when you get back.
I will. Yeah, that could be a nice little niche interview, like the ostrich farm or the donkey reserve.
They also have something that I saw called paddleboard yoga.
Paddleboard yoga.
So I guess you got into the ocean on these paddleboards, and the woman instructs you. You know, she's a yoga instructor.
Oh, that is nice. Although you've got to be pretty good, I assume, not to fall off. That would be my thing.
Yeah, I have no idea how that works.
No way. Yeah.
Maybe one day.
We'll do underwater yoga.
Yeah, that's what it would end up being anyway.
Oh, we're so excited.
So did you guys pick any restaurants or?
No, we haven't. I looked at there's a pier right near the Radisson, at the end of which there's I think it's called Pelican's Bar and Grill.
Okay, well, that's a little further down.
Oh, it is. What's the one?
Right outside the Radisson is the Boogaloo Pier.
The Boogaloo Pier is outside.
Well, no, actually, it's the De Palm Pier, but Boogaloo is the restaurant
that's
on the end of it.
Oh, good. I was wondering which one was close. I want as close as I can get to eating a fish off the boat on the sand. That's the experience I'm looking for.
I like the grouper sandwiches at Boogaloo. And Pelicans Pier is further down. They also have excellent seafood. Oh. Probably a more comprehensive menu down that way.
Okay. All right. Worth the walk then.
Yeah, it's not far.
Yeah.
Not far. It's maybe 4 properties down.
Oh, that's nice.
But I mean, you're going to want to walk the length of it anyway.
And what about Gilligan's? That's on our resort.
Right. Yeah, that's right back from the beach. I've never been there, but I hear good things about it.
All right. I'll tell you how it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing all that stuff.
And I heard there's karaoke somewhere. Perhaps.
No.
That's what I said before they pulled me up on stage.
Yeah, they're gonna love this. I can't wait to embarrass.
There's so many activities, and I mean, and it's not just all on the beach either. There are places within walking distance that you'll be able to go to check out so many different things, souvenirs and such.
Well, that's the other part. The whole retail area on the other side of the road was not even there back in the day when we were there last.
Right. See, my first trip to Aruba was in 2005.
Okay.
So yeah, you guys were there before I was.
Well, I hope not much has changed because it was perfect back then.
It's probably a little bit more crowded now.
Yeah. I imagine that this week it'll be a lot of kids. And it can only be helpful, though there are kids clubs at the resort. I'm more interested in just let the kids run on the beach, go play, come back later, make some friends. Where can you go? The island's so small.
Yeah, the beach area is super nice. The Radisson is probably my favorite location on Palm Beach.
Really? Now, why is that?
We rent a house when we're in Aruba,
Yeah.
but we visit Palm Beach regularly.
Okay.
And we just we like the proximity to Boogaloo, and we also think that the water's probably the clearest there.
I just saw something today. Of course, I've been downloading these apps and looking at the deals, and I saw one. Well, as much as I would love to try kite surfing, I just imagine I'm a larger gentleman, so I don't imagine that it would be that easy. We need a bigger kite. But I think I saw something called land sailing.
Okay.
They look like these go-karts with sails on them.
Okay, I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, and it looked, for $60 or so, you go out for a couple hours and ride those little guys around. I think I know a little boy who might enjoy that.
So you guys are like super active, huh?
I wouldn't say super active. We're a big dancing family. Most of the kids, my kids love to dance.
Oh, that's good.
And it takes up a lot of our time. So as parents, we don't necessarily coach or participate in it. We drop them off. They do their thing, and my wife and I are enjoying the time alone.
Right.
So she's very much the exercise hound. I do it occasionally. I was a college football player back in the day, so I'm always trying to regain some percentage of what I used to be able to do.
Yeah, I hear that. I know that struggle.
Yeah, please. So, we are looking for sort of a half active, half planned, and the rest just relaxing time.
You don't want to forget about that.
No, the funnest things we remember were, say bingo by the pool, or just something sprouts up, temporary tattoos, or just little things like that. And that seems like the event for the day.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys will have a blast.
I can't wait. Well, we're doing a 2-part interview here, right?
That's right.
So we're going to wait till you hear the excitement in the kid's voice when we call you afterwards.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
They're going to want to call you from the plane.
Shoot me an email whenever you want to schedule the interview.
Of course.
I can usually make most times in the evenings. I can usually accommodate anybody.
Oh, you made it so easy for this call in. I really recommend it to anybody who's listening.
Yeah, I try and make it as easy as possible for everybody to participate.
That's great. Well, you're doing the good work. You should get an ambassador's license plate when you go down there.
So, okay, say you just stepped off the airplane, you've picked up your bags and everything. You get to the front door of the airport. What are you expecting?
I'm expecting to see the kids feel the heat, probably with their arms out and leaning their heads back, saying, "I can't believe how hot it is out here." Because, of course, we'll be coming from cold weather up here. It's not too bad now, but we'll be coming from something much colder. So I imagine that. And as we're waiting for that taxi, they'll be running around soaking in the sun. And I'll be doing the same.
Oh, most definitely. You have to. Yeah, you guys are going to have so much fun. I can hear the excitement in all your voices. It really is great.
Oh, yeah. We've got the countdown clock and the chalkboard, and every phone has a countdown app on it.
Yeah.
It's great. The modern vacation.
Forget modern. How about futuristic as we time jump about 3 weeks to the present? Hey, James, how are you doing?
My friend, I am very relaxed.
Nice. Sounds like you had a great time in Aruba.
We had an amazing time.
Nice. Very cool.
We haven't spent that much time together as a family for many years. And we haven't spent that much time without scheduled daily activities, forever.
Right.
We're back for a week now, and my kids are already booked every, hour of every day. My daughter's at dance. My son had, things to do today. But for that 1 week, we had nothing to do, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, I'm sure jumping right back into the routine just makes you appreciate how wonderful that really was.
It does. We really reconnected as a family, which is really the only goal I had. But then we achieved this level of relaxation, which I haven't been that relaxed for at least 15 years.
Nice.
It's just a magical island.
Yeah, it really is. it has captured my heart, and I'm sure yours as well.
One thing I noted when I got down there, my first instinct was to sort of indulge, try to, I think I got a big chocolatey alcohol drink by the pool,
Mm-hmm.
just thinking that was something I had to do. And then that night, I think I got onion rings or try to eat like a crazy and try to find satisfaction that way. But man, it just didn't work. Mm-hmm. My body sort of rejected it a little bit. But I then started to eat healthy while on the trip. I took part in the morning exercise programs. They had like a yoga or a stretching class, and went for walks up and down the strip. And it just seemed like it was an opportunity to live this ideal life of being relaxed and eating healthy and exercising. And I didn't expect that, but it was wonderful.
Right. No, I'm glad that you figured that out early. So many of us go down there and we think that, we just have to do everything that is cliche.
Ha, good word.
But really, you don't have to. I mean, what you do is your normal routine, but you do it in a better way.
Right.
In a much better environment.
Unencumbered by all the daily stress. And that just allows for, if I wanted to take an hour walk in the morning, I took the hour walk.
Right.
I was really amazed at the development of the Palm Beach area, too, from 2001 of our last trip to now. Mm-hmm. Gosh, the Holiday Inn is now 3 buildings wide and takes up probably half the strip.
Yeah, I'm sure you noted so many differences. I mean, the last time you were there, probably some of those buildings weren't even around, or at least they weren't under those same names.
No, it was really a bag of M&Ms for all those different hotels, small private hotels. Now there's really only a few. That Rio is taking over.
Oh, it's huge.
There was rumors that they had already taken over the Westin next door, Westin or Wyndham or whatever it was last.
The Westin, yes.
They took that over, and there's rumors that they're going to take over the Radisson, our little hotel.
But I don't think they are. I think that was purchased by an Aruban group.
Good, because it was a unique hotel. Mm-hmm. When you look at the two differences, and one thing I noticed is that Aruba was a chance for everybody to live their type of vacation that they wanted.
Right.
I was next to a couple of old guys who literally sat and drank beer the entire trip, but that's cool. That's cool by them. It's what they wanted to do.
Right. If that's your thing, then go ahead and do it.
And we walked down to the Rio, or the old Westin, to sort of just revisit our honeymoon place. And of course, we had the kids with us, and we weren't allowed on the grounds because it's an adult-only facility now. And it looked, I don't know how to describe it. It was probably 2 p.m, and it was a bunch of adults. It looked like spring break for adults. Mm-hmm. And the idea that spring break was kind of amateur hour. Mm-hmm. They had a bunch of people doing kayaks in the pool, some sort of an announced race that they were doing. And everybody was, drinking to excess. And one lady was throwing up over the edge of the infinity pool. Goodness. And it looked a little like it was trying too hard. Yeah. So we were happy to walk back. But to think that if the Radisson, which is just such a natural, beautiful grounds of the hotel, with all of the lush and the green, to think that might be turned into adults only, that got me a little scared. But I'd be happy if it's not.
Right. Hopefully it never does.
Right.
Now, before we get started into, the ins and outs of your vacation,
sure,
I feel like I have to ask you a question.
Please.
Okay. Now, you step foot out of the airport. Mm-hmm. Does your second impression of Aruba live up to your expectations?
It was about, I'd say, a day, maybe by the next morning. It took me a while to realize that we were all away. It's almost like the wartime president is never good in peacetime. I was so focused on getting us there and the planning and what we were bringing. And then when we finally got there, I couldn't shift out of that mode. Mm-hmm. So stepping out of the airport, I was sort of still in that mode, and the kids were a little scutchy. And, it was, of course, very windy, and my daughter's got this long curly hair, and she immediately said, is it going to be this windy all week? So I think we needed a bit of a moment. And,
right.
Then you get to the hotel and you explore and you're just walking around, and it's still not fully realized that we were there. Mm-hmm. But it didn't take long.
So who was the first to make the adjustment?
My son, my 10-year-old son.
I thought you would say that.
Yeah, he became the mayor of Aruba for the week.
Nice.
He walked around. He met more people. He was up on stage when there was something on stage. We had an Aruba festival night at the Radisson, and it involved some native dancers, and he was right up there dancing with them, and he met everybody that you could meet, and the guys at the Towel Hut loved him. The folks at the restaurant loved him. It was great.
Nice. So who was the last person to come around?
Honestly, it might have been me. It wasn't until the next morning that I really achieved that relaxation. I get up early on vacations, and everybody else sleeps in till about 8 o'clock. So I got that from 6 to 8 period to walk around and walk up and down the strip. And I think that's what I needed.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was your time to relax and really just soak everything in.
Yeah. The little exploring I did, I couldn't wait to get back and tell them what I saw.
Right.
I saw a man walking up the beach with 11 puppies with him.
I've heard about this guy. I've seen pictures of him on Facebook.
I've been trying to find pictures of him to explain what it looks like to my family. He had 2, probably 3 to 4 week old puppies in each hand, holding 2 in his hands. And 9 of them were following him, and none of them were on leashes, but they just completely followed him, and they were all under 6 months old, and he just said to them, guys, we're not going to walk anymore, and they all sat down next to him, and it was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, I've heard they're really well trained. Actually, the first time I heard about them was on our last trip. A couple that were seated next to us at the comedy show told us about it. And just this past maybe about a week or 2 ago, I saw a picture of him on Facebook.
You did. I need to show the kids. It was a vision.
I will try and track that down and send it to you.
I didn't realize the puppy connection and the dog connection. I listened to your recent podcast with the volunteer lady. It was so touching. And the idea, we found out on the way home, basically, that we could have made some arrangements to travel home with the puppy. And if my wife heard that, we would have not only been traveling, we would have been adopting one.
Right.
Probably good timing that we were too late.
Yeah, it's very, very tempting once you see the pictures.
I know.
Yeah. Oh. So you guys are animal lovers?
Yes, we have a 4-year-old dog here named Fancy. And she missed us, of course, but it was great to reconnect. And yeah, it's about time for a new one. I think we could, not to replace her, but to give her a brother or sister.
Right. A friend to play with.
Right.
So tell me about the Radisson.
Oh, what I really enjoyed was the greenery around the pool area. It really served as a separation from the beach to the hotel. I think more than the rest of the strip, they have a great focus, more trees on that property than the entire strip combined. And at first I didn't know that I'd like that. We were on the 3rd floor of our hotel, and we could not see the ocean but for a few triangles in between the palm trees. But then what we fell in love with was the noise of the palm trees at night, backdropped by the reggae music. And so it was a feeling of just being in such a nice, well-manicured area. And then, of course, there's 2 pools and a little variety that each pool provided. And it wasn't overpopulated. There wasn't a lot of children there. I was kind of surprised because it was April vacation week.
Right.
And, here we go. My daughter just walked in from dance. It wasn't overpopulated with kids, but enough where they made some friends at the pool and hung out most days. Everybody, of course, was friendly and super professional, and the room was beautiful. It was everything we could have asked for in a trip.
Nice. How'd you like the Radisson's location?
Oh, I loved it because it was right next to our favorite place the entire trip, which was the De Palm Pier.
Nice.
Yeah, this pier became our little home away from home. We got to spend, I'm going to say, 3 nights eating at the restaurant called the Bugalow. And it wasn't even the food that drew us there. To be honest, I'd give it a good 5 out of 10 in terms of the food quality. But it was my daughter gives it a 7. But it was the environment. the idea that you're eating out at the end of this pier, usually around sunset, and it's so beautiful, and the waitresses would sing each night. It's sort of just this periodic thing that is sort of self-made. One night we were over, because there's also a gelato stand right next to the bungalow, and we visited that every single day, I promise. But we were getting our gelato one night, and there was an impromptu salsa lesson at the bungalow. And of course, my daughter and I, we were able to just, one of my favorite aspects of the vacation is that things happened to us. When you stop planning, things happen to you. And that little surprise salsa lesson was one of those things. So it was right next to the pier. Even in the morning, there was a Dunkin' Donuts on the pier. The kids still... Exactly. We realized very quickly that if you dropped a half a bagel off the side of the pier, 50 to 100 little white fish will come and grab it. That was fun, even just each day going over and feeding the fish.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the little moments like that just creep up that you remember so much.
Yeah, you feel a sense of ownership over it. You say, "Oh, there's our pier."
Yes. Yep. Yeah, we have those places all over the island too, and you don't think, hey, you know what? There's probably about 50,000 other people that also view it that same way.
I know, right? And each week they see them come and they see them go.
Yep. But it remains special to you.
Well, what the biggest thing that we adopted on the trip was a small smoothie shack right outside the Playa Linda Hotel called Eduardo's Beach Smoothies, I think.
Okay.
And it's a little shack that's owned by Eduardo, who is from Aruba, and his wife, who is from Australia. And the two of them met, decades ago, and they set up shop in Aruba, and they've got a grown daughter who works with them. And they make this product that the minute you see it, it just draws you right to it. It's a special sort of a fruit smoothie bowl. And it's this bright purple color, and it's a dragon fruit is what it is. They call it pitaya, or pitaya, I think is proper. We've been calling it pitaya. And it's a $10 bowl, but it's mixed with as much as you can imagine for fruit and granola and coconut. And it's just a vision. I'll send you a photo of it to post. We had...
Yes, please do.
I'd say... In the days we didn't have it for lunch as well, we definitely had it for breakfast. I think we bought about 15 of them. By the end of the trip, the lady was very keen to just see us coming and say, "Okay, I'll get it ready."
Right, your usual.
Right. Would you mind one moment? My daughter has something to say about her favorite part of the trip.
Hi.
Hi, Isabel. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Been looking forward to talking to you guys.
Yeah, you too.
Tell me, how did you like Aruba?
I loved it.
What was your favorite thing?
I liked when me and my brother and my dad and my mom, we all went tubing. And that was fun because we almost fell off. And I liked snorkeling. But, I'm afraid of fish. But I kind of...
Did you see any barracuda?
No, thank God. But I thought I saw a fish with teeth. But then my dad said it was just what was the teeth fish? What was it? The white part?
The blue fish with the white? It was white around the lips.
It was white around the lips, but I thought it was teeth. So I got scared.
Right? It's that's close enough.
Yeah.
What was the best thing you ate in Aruba?
They had good pizza.
Yeah?
It was...
What was your favorite?
Favorite pizza?
Yes.
It was from Amore Mio or something. Amore Mio, I guess.
I know where that's at. I've never been there, so you recommend it?
Yeah.
Next time I will stop by there.
Yeah, it was really good.
So what else did you like about Aruba?
I liked... they had those, these parrots there, and at a certain time every day, they would bring them out and you could hold them.
Oh, cool.
That was fun.
Was that at the Radisson?
Yeah. And...
That sounds very cool.
Yeah. There was this thing on, a Tuesday night. I forget what it's called. Dad, what was that Tuesday night thing called?
Yeah, Biba.
It was Biba Aruba. And,
okay.
this guy was, limboing fire.
Wow. That sounds cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
Did Jack give that a try?
No.
So did you guys make lots of friends there?
Yeah. We met this family that we hung out with a lot.
That's cool.
And
it's always good to meet new people.
Yeah. They were from Massachusetts too.
Okay. Everybody's from Massachusetts and
I
Aruba.
know. And when we were at a dinner place on the pier, there was this girl and she was from England, and it was really cool because her accent was really good.
You like it?
Yeah.
You should learn how to imitate it.
I can't do that.
Just practice.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
So, how was this salsa dancing?
It was something.
Well, you're a dancer, right?
Yeah. My dad and we went to go get gelato, which was on the pier. And then we saw salsa dancing, and then they were learning this really tricky thing, and my dad wanted to do it with me, so we did it, and it was fun.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it was fun. It was cool because at night they would have a live performance there.
And that was fun?
Yeah.
So, say you were talking to your best friend. What do you think they would like most about Aruba?
Probably. Well, I loved the weather, but probably the beach and stuff, because sometimes there's these huts on the beach, and that's where you can put all your stuff down, and that's cool because everyone has their own, but you have to buy them. And there are these tents too, and you could sign up for parasailing and tubing and stuff. And my dad and my brother went parasailing, but I was too scared, so I just went on the boat to watch.
But tubing is cool too.
Yeah. He went really fast. Because I wore goggles because I knew I would get splashed in the face, and I couldn't see out of them because they were so watery, I guess.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had a great time in Aruba.
Thank you.
And hopefully you make it back there sometime.
I really want to. Okay. Here's my dad.
Thanks for talking to me again.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Kurt. And that next time is 7 months from now. We've got it on our board downstairs. The countdown.
Really? Wow.
We're talking
cool.
a big game to go for Christmas, but we don't know. I looked at the prices, and I think it's triple for everywhere. But it would be fun.
Oh, yeah. We like I said before, we go down twice a year. We go almost 6 months apart, actually. Sometime in August or September, and then sometime in February or March.
Is it any different in August? Not that it could be hotter, but does it get hotter in that time?
No.
Perfect.
Now, one thing that can happen in August, and just this time of year or that time of year, is if there's a tropical storm or hurricane or something in the Caribbean. Now, Aruba doesn't get hit with hurricanes, but that tropical occurrence can sap the trade winds from the area. So the winds don't blow nearly as hard, which does make it heat up a bit.
Okay.
Now, I've never experienced it. Well, no, actually, there was a day or two where the winds were lessened, and you definitely could feel the heat a lot more, but we just spent more time in the water. It doesn't happen often, but there's a possibility of it happening during the height of hurricane season.
Well, go figure. Their curse is to just get hotter when the hurricanes come.
Right. Right.
I can handle that.
Yeah, it's not too bad. And that's low season. So I mean, from a price standpoint, that's a good thing. Right.
Yeah, we did very well. I was quite happy overall with the cost, and we didn't spend a lot. Again, our focus was relaxation and not planning activities and letting them happen to us. So, I mean, I might have spent $2,000 the whole week on food and activities and everything that we did and souvenirs.
Yeah, for a family of four, that's great.
I expected more, right?
Yeah, you can't beat that. So the Radisson, that's not all inclusive?
No, I think they have a bit of a plan if you choose it, but I kind of like the idea of getting creative with the breakfasts. We actually brought blenders down thinking we were going to make shakes each morning, which we did the first day until we found our beautiful pataya bowls. And there's another breakfast place. If it wasn't the Pattaya bowls we had, it was next to the Radisson on the other side. There was a great little, very inexpensive place called the Bread Basket. And it's not on a pier, but it's on a little water sports station, retail place right off the beach. They have an egg and bacon and cheese wrap that's like on a panini press. It was just wonderful.
Right.
I could have had that every week.
Yeah. See, I'm learning new things because I haven't heard of that place. I did hear Eduardo's. I've never been there, but now I have to go there because I have to try the Pattaya bowl.
Eduardo's, definitely. And they're fun and unique, and I think they'd even make a good guest on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to reach out to as many people as I can.
Good. Like I said, I'll go down anytime to help recruit.
Cool. So what other restaurants did you guys visit, or what was your favorite, say, dinner?
I was telling the kids the whole trip that I just wanted to eat fish right out of the ocean. I wanted to sort of reach off the boat, pick up a fish, and eat it. Didn't get to do
nice trick if you can pull it off.
Yeah. I couldn't do that necessarily, but at the Bungalow our last night, there was a full red snapper, and the kids had never seen that on the plate before. We took a nice picture of that. And again, while I enjoyed it less for its food and more for its activities and music, that was a good night. That's when Isabel met the English lady who was there for 6 months, by the way. How's that for? I think we do things wrong here. Go for 6 months and get a job. That's what I say.
Yeah, I met a woman from New Jersey down there who does live down there for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
She is a waitress for 6 months down there, and then she comes here and takes care of her grandkids for 6 months.
Oh, man. Good for her.
Yeah, you can't beat that. What kind of activities did you guys do down there?
We would do one water sport each day, whether it was parasailing one day or we jet skied, and we the fun family activity we did was tubing, but it was tubing on one of those big red couches.
Right. What's it called? Big Mabel or something like that?
Yeah, all four of us had to sit on it, and they were respectful because with my wife and my daughter, they didn't really want to go that fast, and they respected what we said. And, but it was definitely a thrill. I do have a GoPro camera and took a nice video of us all just having a blast. I've been watching it a few times now. Those were fun during the day. That broke up the day nicely. Sometimes in our free time, we would simply just snorkel right off the beach. Not a lot of fish, but in the grassy areas, it was like the hunt for conch shells and starfish. Yeah, and there was a couple that found a starfish that was, the size of a dinner plate. It was huge. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I never found one, but I did find conch shells galore. It got boring how many darn huge conch shells there were down there. Yeah, so it's simply doing that. Floating in the ocean is its own activity. Yeah, I have to tell you, I did zip up my phone into a Ziploc bag and bring it out in the ocean with me, and I played your podcast while floating in the beach in Aruba. It was the most meta thing. Now when I hear your music, it brings me right back.
Sweet.
Another fun thing was outside of the Hard Rock Cafe, right on the street side of our hotel, was the home base for the Segway tours. And they have Segways on the sidewalk, and they gave a nice 5-minute lesson and a nice impromptu test. I never rode a Segway before, but all the kids and I got to
me neither.
That was fun.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah, I felt bad that we didn't sign up for the whole tour, but it was just nice to take a little test like that. And our best activity was meeting each night at 6:51 p.m. for the sunset.
Oh, cool.
And it's just...
Did you videotape it?
I was able to videotape it. And from the time the sun was about halfway down the horizon, it maybe took 30 seconds for it to say goodbye.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
It's such a must-see. Just pulling up a chair and waiting from about 5:30 till 6:50 is just hanging out. And the pictures and the sunset and the glow. Oh, just talking about it, I can't wait to go back. You must hear that so often.
As soon as we leave, we start planning the next trip. I mean, we can't nail down the exact dates, but we already start making a list of this is what we want to do.
So smart. And the one-day activity we did was the trip to the Palm Island. which was
how was that?
Fun. I would give it, a B-, I'd say. It was made more fun by the idea that my high school friend and a girl who grew up in my neighborhood, she was there with her family. And
really?
We knew it,
Wow.
and we connected through Facebook. Once I didn't find out till I was down there, but I connected with her, and we said, hey, let's do this. And she was going to be there that day. So we modified our schedule and went down and met her. And thank goodness it was really lightly attended. If she and I weren't there, there may be only 4 other families on the whole darn island. And they have the water slides for the kids to ride on, and it was just enough fun with that. And they had snorkeling. It was more intense snorkeling with those scary bluefish that my daughter spoke of.
Right.
But even still, it was just a little bit of rough water and kind of shallow to the rocks. So the one thing that we got filling most of our time with was that it's free banana boat rides. And we got in with the guys on the boat, and there was so few of us that the kids just went ride after ride after ride after ride. And I get to ride in the boat with them. It was pretty fun.
That's what it's all about, right?
You said it.
I'm sure Jack had a blast.
We did. He's exhausted. He won't wake up now to be on the podcast.
He probably needs his rest.
Yeah, right. Well, we can't wait to go back. We're counting the days, counting the months at least now. We had the day-to-day countdown on the chalkboard, but now it's 7 months until.
That's cool to have something like off in the distance.
Oh, sure. Then you can save a little easier each month, stick away, start a vacation account.
Right, exactly.
But worth every penny.
Just for the smiles and memories. Now, James, as you know, Aruba lies below the hurricane belt, so they don't really have to worry about hurricanes. But on this interview, we visit the eye of the hurricane. So, James Haroutunian, are you ready to visit the eye of the hurricane?
I'm ready.
Okay, finish this sentence. You know you're in Aruba when?
You know you're in Aruba when the most prominent sound that you hear is the sound of wet flip-flops. I love the wind, of course, but the sound of the wet flip-flops is something I just noticed after enough time of walking around with the kids. It's something special.
Give me a no-brainer great time in Aruba.
Watching the sunset at 6:51 each night. Must-see show.
Are there any special tools, apps, or resources you use to plan your Aruba trip?
Honestly, it was this podcast. Yeah, you went so in-depth, and it's a great tool for anybody thinking to plan a trip.
I'm glad that it was useful to you. Do you have something you bring from home or pick up as soon as you arrive to help you take this vacation to the next level?
As strange as it sounds, I bought a very small backpack. And I'm not... usually I have my briefcase with me, which contains all the stuff that I need in a day of work or a day around the town here. But I bought this little small bag, and I can't tell you the pleasure that I had knowing where all my stuff was, separate from the kids' stuff, separate from my wife's stuff, safe from the sand, and it's nothing more than a backpack, and I've got to keep the passports in check, and I felt so good knowing how organized it was. I don't know where it was all my life.
What's missing from Aruba, or how do you think Aruba could be improved?
I can't even call it that much of a negative, but the only down part, coming home is always a down part, but the process at the airport was far more involved, and various lines, at least 5 or 6 different lines that we would wait in. And we gave ourselves 3 hours, and we were the last ones on the plane, and we almost missed the flight. They have some sort of a double bag check-in process.
Yes.
And we weren't expecting that, and the length of time to get into that second bag room. The JetBlue lady had to come get us out of the line, and there was a lot of stress that came with that we could have avoided had I known, or had, of course, if the process could be fixed. But there was far less stress knowing that our worst case was just staying another night in Aruba.
It's a great way to look at it.
I was shuffling my feet a little bit.
Is there anything you didn't get a chance to do this last trip that's definitely on the list for your next trip?
Yes, I'm so disappointed in myself because you'd think I would have learned this lesson over 40 years. I didn't book the Snuba trip early enough. And by that Thursday, when I went to book it, it was booked for the rest of the trip. Snuba is basically snorkeling and scuba combined. you get about 15 feet under the water with a tube attached to an oxygen tank floating on the water. So if it's something we talked about, something was of the main thing we wanted to do, and foolish me, I didn't know. So now that's just our excuse to go back.
There you go. Yeah, your next trip, just make sure you, as soon as you confirm the dates, make sure you book that trip.
You're right.
All right, now, this is the final question of the Eye of the Hurricane. The people of Aruba have decided to lock you out of paradise. That's right, they're no longer allowing visitors to the island. However, since you guys were so cool on this trip to Aruba, they've decided to allow you to visit for one more day, all expenses paid. So, James, how do you spend your last day on the island of Aruba?
The last day. Well, they're going to have to rip me off of the island, so I'm probably going to spend it fortifying some bunker. But after that work is done, as corny as it sounds, I would do everything that we did on our last trip. I loved our honeymoon, but now, 15 years later, with the kids and with the emotional intelligence I've gained over these years, I just had such a wonderful time, and it brought me into such a wonderful zone for 2015. I can't imagine doing anything different than what we did, except for booking Snuba a little earlier.
Right. Yeah, so make sure you hang on to that feeling as long as you can. Well, James, you survived the Eye of the Hurricane. How was it?
It was not as bad as it might sound with all that noise in the background.
Yeah. So now that the interview is winding down, there's a question I'd like to ask in closing to everyone.
Sure.
Okay, now, assume someone listening to this podcast right now is on the fence about whether or not they want to visit Aruba. Speak specifically to that person. What would you say to them to convince them that they should just take the plunge and book a trip to Aruba?
Well, first I would say, what are you, crazy? This place is amazing. Where do you get the guaranteed weather and activities galore and wonderful resorts and friendly people? And ultimately, the true purpose of going, if they're a family person and they have kids, I would say that the primary reason would be to reconnect with your family. To get on this island and have this environment and shed away the daily life and strip it down and spend time with your family. It led us to realize that we all still like each other and we can get back home and get back on our routines, but we know at our core that it's all good.
Sounds perfect.
Thank you.
That was an incredible answer. I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of One Happy Podcast. This very special episode because I had guests, which was something that I wasn't expecting, completely added to the show. It made the show. Your family is incredible.
Oh, thank you, Kurt. We really appreciate the opportunity. It enhanced it so much. We can't wait to hear it. And hopefully we'll be able to film part 2 soon enough.
So with that being said, you guys have a good evening, okay?
Absolutely.
So there you have it, episode 17 of One Happy Podcast. As you can probably tell, I had a wonderful time conducting this interview. I want to thank James for being such an incredible guest, as well as his 2 very cool special guests, Isabel and Jack. Hope you're feeling better, Jack. And also Amy for getting the house together while James and I goofed off. And most of all, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to listen to the show. We talked about a lot, but don't worry if you missed something, because you could always either re-listen or visit the show notes page that accompanies this episode of the show, which can be found at onehappypodcast.com/EP17. Also, on the One Happy Podcast website, you can find an archive of all the past shows, links to various resources, including the One Happy Podcast Facebook page, and the form that James used to contact me to be a guest. Can't wait to talk to each and every one of you, but until then, Isabel, can you help me out with this?
Hit the music!
There you go.